What's happening guys, it's Abhinav from PhoneBunch and welcome to our review of the Xiaomi Redmi 3S Prime. First, let's get the specs out of the way. So this one runs on the Snapdragon 430 octa-core processor with 3GB of RAM, 32GB of onboard storage, and yes, Android Marshmallow right out of the box. You have a 5-inch 720p HD display, 13MP rear and a 5MP front camera. We'll talk about the rest of the specs as we go along. Let's talk about build now. So you have a metal construction here, and this is a dual SIM 4G LTE capable device, but it comes with a hybrid SIM card slot. So you can either use 2 SIM cards or 1 SIM card and 1 memory card. At the top of the phone you'll find the IR blaster, secondary noise cancellation mic and a 3.5mm audio jack. The IR blaster actually did work out quite well. It was working fine with the AC in our office. Next up, we have the volume rocker and power button on the right of the phone. Both are sturdy, they offer good feedback and they don't wobble even a little bit. You can also see a lip in the front of the phone, which is golden in color again. That provides added protection to the front panel. At the bottom of the phone, you'll see the primary microphone and the micro USB data syncing and charging port. Now moving to the back of the device, there's a 13MP camera with face detection autofocus, LED flash, and you can see that fingerprint sensor that's only present on the Prime variant. Now the phone has a very subtle curve on both the sides, which does make it very good to hold. It packs a massive 4100 mAh battery, which is non-removable but gives great battery life. Now for the fingerprint sensor, it works perfectly. It is accurate and it is very fast. Xiaomi is also packed in its app lock functionality here, so you can lock any app with that fingerprint sensor. Now this device packs all the sensors that you may want. You have an accelerometer, magnetic field sensor, gyroscope, proximity sensor, light sensor, everything. Navigation also did work out quite fine on the device. The front earpiece was great during calls, we didn't have any issues there. Network connectivity was also top notch. Now you have a 5MP front camera here, and at the bottom of the phone you have capacitive buttons which are sadly not backlit. But you do have a notification LED just below that home button. I really wish those buttons were backlit, but you can't have everything. Now that 5-inch 720p display actually looks quite sharp. It has good viewing angles as well, no distortion in brightness or colors. The color reproduction however is a bit towards the colder side, but you can play around with that in display settings. Then you also have a reading mode built in, which I really found useful because I do read quite a lot on my phones. You can even control how warm your display should be when you are reading on it. That's actually quite neat. Coming to that rear camera now. You have a 13MP rear unit with face detection autofocus. It does actually focus in quite quick. Even macro shots did turn out quite well. Shutter speeds are good here, and you have a manual mode which is very rudimentary. Nothing major there. You can record 1080p videos with the rear camera, which is always appreciated. You have continuous autofocus for the rear camera, which does hunt a little bit. Now coming to some of these images, you can see that the color reproduction is really spot on. However, when you look into the images, you will find that they do turn out a bit soft. But for sharing on social media, even for printing those, they do look quite alright. This is a 100% crop of the previous image, and you can see it still looks great. Now here are some of the HDR samples. You can see that the highlights are not overblown and the shadows are preserved. And as I said earlier, macro shots do turn out quite well. They retain quite a lot of sharpness, and color reproduction is quite good on this device. Overall, when you have good amount of light, this camera does turn out good images with very little noise and good color reproduction as well. But when you come indoors in artificial light, the camera does show its weakness. There is a bit of noise in images. It does take a little bit of time to focus as well. It misses focus quite a number of times, and it tries to overexpose as well. But still, this is a good camera in this price segment. Is it better than the Redmi Note 3? That we would find out later in our camera comparison. Now here's a video shot with the Redmi 3S Prime. You can see it does hunt for focus a little bit, and video quality is just about average. That's not the case with the audio quality on the device. It actually sounded quite good over the loudspeaker. It is slightly tinny, but it is quite loud. The audio through the headset jack again is quite clear. It is loud as well. FM radio is also supported on the device and it could easily play all the video formats we threw at it. And just to add, FM recording is also available over here. The speakerphone is allowed during calls as well. Which now brings me to software. So we have Android Marshmallow running on this device with MIUI 7.5 on top. You have all the features like theme support baked in, you can control effects of different home screens. There's a lot going here. With MIUI 7.5, there are a few neat features which we'll talk about. Now out of the 32 gigs of storage, you'll get about 24 odd gigs when you get the device. USB OTG is also supported here. You can see right there, video playback is very smooth too. Now out of the 3 gigs of RAM, when you have no apps running in the background, you'll have about 1.8 gigs free, and even in general, memory management is very good on this device. I didn't have any issues there. Now some of the neat features of MIUI, not just this version, you have a do not disturb mode which works like priority notifications, and then you have a child mode built in as well. So if you give it to your child, you can just lock it to specific apps and only you and you alone would be able to unlock the device with a fingerprint or a password. That's actually quite neat. Now I also have quick ball feature here where you can show floating shortcuts. This is available over all the apps, so you can just customize it and you can launch specific apps or specific tasks very easily. So let's say I want to turn on the torch, it works perfectly. Now there's one more way you can turn on the torch in MIUI. Just long tap on the home button when you are on the lock screen. And if you press the power button again, it just turns off. I've used this functionality quite a lot. Now let's talk about performance. First, web browsing. We didn't have any issues here. Text and images render quickly. You can see scrolling is really good here as well, as is pinch to zoom. And even if we open multiple apps, you can see those open up really quickly. Animations are slick and we didn't notice any lag here as well. And even if I open multiple apps and just go back to Chrome, you can see that it is still kept in memory. So even memory management is good on the device. Moreover, we played several high-end games on the phone, including Asphalt 8, Nova 3, Modern Combat 5, and this phone didn't struggle much in any of those games. Yes, there was a bit of a hiccup in 1 or 2 games, but for the most part, gaming was smooth on the device and it didn't heat up. Now let's talk about the best feature of this device, excellent battery life. I was easily able to get more than 1.5 days of use throughout my testing. Whether it was on Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, this phone performed really great in that aspect. Even now you can see with about 60% odd of battery left, I have 2 odd hours of screen on time. I have been continuously recording this video. Then you can also customize the power profile. You can set a battery saver percentage when it should kick in. So there is quite a lot of control available for battery life on the device as well. So overall, this device does perform well. It looks good, it is built well, it takes decent images as well, and moreover, this phone does support fast charging as well. You do get a 2 amp charger within the box. Now priced at Rs 8,999, it competes with just one phone, Xiaomi's own Redmi Note 3. So here's my advice, if you want a larger phone, go with the Redmi Note 3. It has slightly better cameras as well. But if you want a compact powerhouse that gives great battery life, good performance as well, at present there is no competition to the Redmi 3S Prime in this price segment. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, let us in the comment section, and as always, have a great day.